Live at 11 with Mackenzie Warren and Reed Cowan. This is News 3.
A woman knocking on doors with a Bible viciously mauled by 2 pit bulls. Tonight, she's seriously injured.
And I'm Mackenzie Warren. Lisa Willardson found dead by Judge Stephen Jones inside her Henderson home. Their relationship sparking an ethics investigation. News 3's Kelsey Thomas is live from the coroner's office with more. And Kelsey, the timeline on this is just so strange.
New at 11, the life they could have had. Tonight, our first look at the Las Vegas woman and her newborn child killed by tuberculosis. Now local officials scrambling to test dozens of families. We hear the term Christmas miracle a whole lot this time of year, but this story just might fit the bill. $300,000 cash, lost, left behind, literally dropped into a cab driver's lap.
So I'm going to run into the break room and see how much more baklava I can eat.
You can't.
Save me one piece, brother.
You can't take the last piece of baklava. There's a rule against that. All right, well, new at 11, the Welcome to Las Vegas sign changing colors for the fight against breast cancer. The iconic sign turns pink Monday. Pink light bulbs will be installed, all to raise breast cancer awareness. Clark County commissioners will host a special ceremony to reveal the new pink lights. And normally those signs are red, yellow, but they change colors all year long. I'm a little biased, but I gotta say, pink looks good.
It looks good on Las Vegas. Well, coming up, it's Friday night, meaning high school football in full swing around our valley.
And the Rebel football team hopes to accomplish something tomorrow they haven't done since 2003. Randy's up next to explain in sports. Millions of Americans who need health insurance starting January 1st have until midnight tonight to buy a government health plan.
A stack of new laws set to take effect in Nevada on New Year's Day. The December 2011 fatal shooting of Gulf War veteran Stanley Gibson helping lead the way to the adoption of this one.
It's time to start thinking about your taxes.
Bah humbug. I'm not ready for that quite yet. April 15th seems like a long ways away, but it will be here before you know it. And there are some things you can do now to make sure your bill is just a little bit smaller. Our Jeff Gillen is on the tax beat tonight. Jeff, sorry for this assignment the day after Christmas.
Oh, not a problem.
So lawmakers unable to work out a last-minute deal to fund the government. Nearly 1 million federal workers will be forced to stay home without pay, and their work will not get done.
All right, so let's put all of this into perspective. We have team coverage tonight. News 3's Antonio Castellon live from Nellis Air Force Base to tell us how the shutdown will impact military workers.
But first, we go to Capitol Hill, where NBC's Steve Handelsman has the latest from Washington. Governor Brian Sandoval just announcing a council to find ways to improve our healthcare system. The move comes after reports of Ross and Neal patients being bused to cities where they don't know anyone, given a one-way ticket out of here. So let me just ask you, can an 18-person panel really be a difference maker?
Mackenzie, you worked at KRNV before, prior to coming to Las Vegas, and you're familiar with the area. For people who are not familiar with the area, where is Renown Hospital with relation to the downtown area?
It's just right off that main drag. It's on East 2nd Street, so, you know, a 2-minute drive from downtown Reno. And this is a pretty large campus. Of course, UNR has a medical school there. Combined with this, as we understand, the shooting happened at a building connected to the hospital. Just recapping as all these details come in, Reno police was initially reporting 2 people dead. They've since retracted that. They've changed this number to 1. We understand a female doctor was in her office when this person with a gun came in and shot her. As we understand, another person also shot. They could be a medical personnel. They're undergoing surgery right now. And Reno police saying the shooter is dead, the threat is over, and now come the very important questions. This is a hospital. It's a place that's supposed to be protected. It's supposed to be safe with very vulnerable people inside. We all know you can't just walk into a hospital, but it's sounding like that was the case here. They don't know if the shooter was a patient or if they knew this female doctor. Details, of course, in this breaking news situation are trickling in.
And every year, Mackenzie Warren is starting to make a name for herself as the girl who can make her way into that crowd and find the best stories, the most hilarious stories, and some unique stories of how people arrived in town for New Year's Eve. So, Mackenzie, what have you found out there?
Jessica, it's amazing how easy it is to make friends on New Year's Eve. The light, the camera, and the microphone, and suddenly I have all these best friends. We're talking about California, which might not sound too exotic, but actually 1 million Californians come to Las Vegas for New Year's. This is Josh. Josh, we're going to do a little reflection. Look back to 2012 with some Gangnam. You know what I'm talking about.
Okay, I think I know.
Bust it out.
Bust it out
right now, Gangnam style. Okay, so we remember that move. But my lady ladies from Orange, California know that 2013 was really all about what the fox says.
Yeah, what the fox says.
Which is
what the fox says. Ding, 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 ding.
okay. So for more of that, let's go and show you some of the moments from earlier. Check it out.
Our Capitol correspondent, Mackenzie Warren, also getting ready to cross that finish line and come home. She tracks those endless votes today. Mackenzie?
Reed, this is when the fun begins. This marathon just turned into a sprint. 110 days down, 10 more to go, and it's a big one in Carson City. Unless a bill is exempt, it must pass the second house by midnight tonight. We've seen a lot of bills slip through the cracks. Others will live to see one more day. Despite the stack of criticisms, this aggressive renewable energy plan just passed unanimously out of a Senate committee less than 10 minutes ago. The gaming industry has reservations. Consumer advocates hate it. Governor Brian Sandoval telling lawmakers he's ready to sign it.
Buffett's style is he picks steady companies that are profitable. NV Energy's headquarters aren't moving. The company's already gone on record to say all of NV Energy employees will stay. But let's go back to that energy bill. I think about Las Vegas summers and what I pay on nvenergy.com. What can you say to our ratepayers back at home to ensure that their bill will not go up?
Well, he's a governor, but he's also a Nevada voter, so we asked Governor Sandoval. Here's that.
Yeah, I'll review that when the time comes.
Can I get an answer, yes or no?
And again, I'm going to review SJR 15, and I typically don't telegraph the way I'm going to vote, but I probably would vote no against it.
So it took a little work. I had to push him there, but Governor Sandoval says he will vote no on SJR 15 in this Republican divide. We've seen it all session long, and we'll see it tomorrow with this gun control debate. We're dividing and conquering. I know you're going to be with the governor, and I'll be talking to Mark Kelly, husband of Congresswoman Gabby Giffords. Assemblyman, what do you say to... But before I could finish my one question that Brooks agreed to, I was pushed. Oh, excuse me, sir. By a legislative police officer.
This nation continues to grieve with you. Nevadans stand with you. You lost your 6-year-old little boy in the most unthinkable way. How do you find it in yourself to be here in Carson City?
Well, that's a good question. It's clearly a place I would rather not be by choice.
They're too close for comfort, and really, Congresswoman Berkeley has been in Nevada politics since 1982. She's a veteran. I asked her, why even run? Why risk giving up this seat that you could have had for life? She said she's doing it for Nevada, and certainly these people believe she can do it, but it's just too close to call. The allegation is that Judge Jones used the chambers, the courthouse, as a setting for the crime.
Those are merely allegations, and the proof is in the pudding, and we look forward to our day in court.
What do you say to your constituents, those that have elected you, Judge Jones?
He's presumed innocent of these charges. Citizens of this country.
Target twice, Forever 21, Old Navy, a jewelry store, a nail salon, documentation, no.
The kids are very, well, the documentation should be there. I mean, I'm not sure why it wouldn't be, but all the kids' names would be on the receipts.
Why weren't they, though, in just that typical day?
I can't even answer that because I was never even asked that question.
I want to show you where I'm standing now. No way this time yesterday we could do it. You can see how far the waters receded, but the openings of those channels were absolutely gushing, and police feel confident they've been able to pinpoint Wilmuth to possibly be somewhere in this area. Splashing, gushing, overflowing. Las Vegas underwater gives us great shots like these, but makes our camera do this. We're resorting to our iPhone. We're here at the Pittman Wash at the Arroyo Grande Park in Henderson. This park is under construction right now. The rain completely took out some of the work. You know the face and the name. Nicolas Cage comes to Carson City. It sounds like a movie title, and that's the idea.
I know that everybody in Hollywood wants to make movies in Nevada.
On his way to meet Governor Brian Sandoval, Nicolas Cage tells me bringing the silver screen to the Silver State is personal.
I want to take my kid to school, go to work, and have dinner with my family at the end of the day. And I have 4 scripts right now that could easily be shot in the state of Nevada.
Cage is lending his star power to Senator Aaron Ford's bill that would give tax breaks to film companies who make movies in Nevada.
Bringing film productions to our state through tax incentives will create jobs for Nevada families.
But new jobs would come at a cost to Nevada, around $35 million a year. And as Senator Ford tries to give Hollywood directors a tax break, his colleague in the Assembly is trying to tax your movie ticket.
Assembly Speaker Marilyn Kirkpatrick, her admissions tax could potentially tax the moviegoer. How do those two fare?
Well, I think that we're doing things dynamically. We have to do things that are going to better our state.
Critics say, look, if you give this, it could be handing a blank check to these directors.
Well, I think the critics are wrong on that.
Carol Villardo, president of the Nevada Taxpayers Association, is one of those critics.
The tax credits are now coming under scrutiny in other states.
Villardo says, why give $35 million a year to Hollywood when it could be spent here at home?
That is still a lot of money, and if memory serves right, I believe that's a 1% increase in restoring state employees.
Spoken like a true movie star, Cage says it's a risk worth taking.
Movies are the American dream. We can reach more people through one film than any other export.
Stealing from a house of God.
How does it make you feel to watch that?
It's sickening.
St. John Newman Catholic Church, the victim of an unthinkable crime last June, breaking commandments in broad daylight on all days, a Sunday. And with several sets of eyes watching on, the two made off with money meant for the poor, cameras capturing the entire thing. First scoping it out, then a bit of tampering, and with the woman as lookout, the man pilfered the donation box, resting Joseph carefully on the floor where 2 months later he still sits.
You've dropped money in one of those donation boxes before?
Yes, I mean, everybody has.
Maggie, a member at St. John's, watching the newly released surveillance for the first time.
Sad.
The pair still at large. North Las Vegas police spokesperson Chrissy Kuhn hoping the crisp images will put these two where they belong.
Regardless of the amount of money that was in the donation box at the time that it was stolen, these two individuals could still face felony charges.
To Maggie, even felons deserve forgiveness.
I feel sorry for them.
She says, ask and you shall receive.
It's sad because they could have just walked in that door and asked for help. And I'm sure anybody in there would have helped them.
In North Las Vegas, Mackenzie Warren, News 3. Heroin looks much of the same as it did during its heyday of the 70s. Just as insidious, but now heinously popular. It's creeping into every pocket of Las Vegas. All neighborhoods, every race, all ages. The difference between someone who is using heroin and someone who is not is in their eyes.
I've worked way too hard to lose what I have today. Over a balloon, over dope, it's just not worth it to me because what I have now is what I've been throwing away for the past few years before I got clean.
21-year-old Dominic D'Amelio knows heroin. He's coming up on 2 years clean, sobriety in his eyes.
If I throw it away again, who knows if I'm ever going to get it back? Who knows if I'm going to wake up?
Dom's mom, Sandy Gwynn, watched heroin suck every bit of life out of her son.
We know what we were like when we were their age. We're not up against the same things.
Did you think you were going to lose him?
Yes. On more than one occasion.
She kicked Dom out twice, not knowing if he'd make it home.
That is every parent's worst fear. That's every parent's worst fear. And you think it, you're so afraid to say it out loud, like that's gonna make it more true. But every single parent thinks it.
Dom got to heroin the same way most kids who use in Las Vegas did, starting with prescription pills.
Pills, when I started with pills, they were expensive.
Heroin's a cheaper alternative, the high, even more powerful.
So you go from expensive pills to cheap dope, which is better in the end. And then after you run out of money and you start committing crimes or doing whatever you have to do to get the money.
What'd you do to get the money?
Stole, robbed, just whatever I had to do.
Dom tried heroin for the first time at 17, changing his dreams of college to an obsession with getting more dope. Dom was a stud soccer player at Durango High School. As he was getting high, letters of interest from colleges started pouring in. But Dom's addiction won. He stopped playing. He never did get that scholarship.
When you were using, did you ever think about stuff like that?
Like?
Goals?
Oh, no. Oh, yeah, my goals were to get dope. That's it, is to get high.
Heroin today isn't so much about needles. Yes, hardcore users will shoot up, or mainline as it's called, but more heroin users, especially young adults, smoke it.
How easy is it to get?
It's, if you know the right people, you can get it within 10, 15 minutes.
It's as easy as a text message to your heroin dealer. The tougher part, paying for the addiction. His eyes welling and with a slight lump in his throat, Dom recalls robbing an elderly woman for $3,000.
It's just like, wow, who knows, that could have been her rent money. That could have been her money for food, or who knows what it could have been. And I just stole it and I didn't even care.
Dom didn't even want to share that story with his mom in the next room. Painful memories, almost harder to kick than the drug itself.
What was the hardest thing? What did you learn about yourself getting clean?
That was the hardest thing, was learning about myself, was facing why I was learning why I was using and learning how to deal with it. Because if you really want to get clean, you're not going to turn to dope. You got to deal with all the stuff you've been pressing down with drugs.
Dom's sobriety meant Mom Sandy also got her son back.
To know that the boy I thought I lost was now becoming the man I always knew he would be.
Not all young men are as lucky or strong as Dom. His age group, 18 to 25, is the most vulnerable. And Dom says the heroin craze just getting started.
The way I see it, it's going to get worse.
A new generation of addicts being born from a pill habit that's grown too expensive. And unlike the prescriptions, the supply of heroin is there.
For every new person that uses it, they introduce it to 3 new people. 1 or 2 of those people get hooked on it, they're introducing new people. It's just spreading around like any other drug.
Dom's cut off all ties from that life, but he knows he can never escape it.
You hear about the heroin addicts down in, on Fremont or wherever, but you don't hear about the wife in Summerlin that's addicted to Oxycontins. It's the same thing, it's just a different face.
A different face. The battle similar. Heroin's hold is tight, both on the people who use and the loved ones left to watch.
It's like holding your breath, but with a mother's heart. I don't know if I can even explain what that feels like, but it's just a terrible grip on your heart that you can't breathe, you can't sleep, you can't